Did we make it?
I think we did.
What was that all about?
I do not know. That was like
That was unbelievable.
that was 22 minutes of pain.
Do you need to like type in that thing that we're live now?
No, because I went to that thing, to that screen right now, and it shows live on there.
Okay, good. All right. Holy moly. Like, do we now have to rethink Google Hangout?
I do not know. It's a little bit painful.
All right. A little bit. All right,
Yes,
should we get started? I mean, we're only 20-some minutes late.
Yeah, that would be good, except I don't think I have, we can get started. I need to grab the link that everyone else has for the Hangout again, because I accidentally shut that down. We can start, though, while I grab it.
So, I'm kind of hoping that there isn't anybody watching, because they all gave up on us and decided to go be productive again.
I don't think so.
Because that was really that was like rude of us.
Well,
We wasted 22 minutes of their time. And now 24. I've just talked for 2. All right. So let's just go. So typically when we do website reviews, which we have now done, I believe 276 in the last year. I think that's right, 276. We like to go through social media first, and then we go to the website, and then we go to analytics. You okay if we start that way?
Yes, that's good. I'm just getting everything situated there. So yeah, we do the social media, so which I don't even realize that we do it that way because I just record my part back and forth. So.
Well, the reason that I like to do that first is because sometimes somebody can look at your page and they can say, look, you're not getting enough, you're not getting likes and pins and tweets. Maybe you should make this blue instead of red.
Right.
But I think that's backwards, because first of all, we have to find out if the right people are even on your site who would care about pinning and tweeting and all that stuff. So we like to see, all right, what is it that we're doing outside the site to bring people to the site? Because that part helps us figure out, all right, have we filtered the right people in? Because if it's just a bunch of crap, then it's going to be hard to tell.
Yeah.
What?
It was just a bunch of crap. That's good.
No, like somebody will do a $25 JCPenney gift.
Exactly. I'm with you there.
That's crap. That means every person under the sun is going to come to the site just to get $25, not because they care about your site. So then, if it is crap, then that helps us understand whether or not we have enough data to really make changes on the site or not. And if it's pretty good quality traffic, then we can make better assessments. So where do you want to go first?
Well, what I always do is, so now I have to figure out how to see this exactly right, because the little Google Hangout nav bar is at the top. But what I always start with when I look at the site is I gather all the information and I know the goals. I know that the goal, what Kelly's goals are, like with cleaning out content and SEO and monetizing. And then what I do, and you've heard me do it several times, is I look instantly at what social media platforms that she has linked to. So when I look at misinformation, the first thing I see on the top is right there where it says Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, plus the RSS, and then what is the plus Bloglovin? I'm trying to, and then the Instagram right there.
Yes, Bloglovin.
Yes. Instagram. In Instagram. So the first question that comes to my mind is this: in a social media world, social is really about establishing connections. It's about community. And when we link to every single one on the top, the first thing I always think about is, are these places where you want people to go from your website to another social website? Do these places drive traffic then back to the site? Because every single one that's linked there, you're telling your readers, like, hey, I'm active on Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, all of those. And as you and I talk about, Dan, all the time, is I even joke on many of my website reviews, like, Zuckerberg could decide to shut down Facebook, and Twitter could go away, and all those things could go away. And the primary place where we want to have everybody is on that list. And I know, Dan, that you'll talk about where that should be in all the opt-in. So any of these other social media platforms, they are moving people really away from your list to another platform that the point of that platform is to bring them back to your site.
So I'm not a big fan of having the social icons on your site until, well, at least visible, until after the person who's on here has opted in and is on your list.
I'm completely with you. The only exceptions I would have for that is if, let's just say, there was the opt-in and then maybe 3 sites where there's great activity. Like, we know that Pinterest is a traffic driver, and so then I would really focus on those sites, like being willing to tell everybody you can go to this site. If you had the sidebar ladder plugin, then you can rotate things in that way once they're on the list. But without that, if it's not a platform where you're active, which I would say 95% of the blogs, Google Plus is not a platform that there's really great activity and community, and yet I see it always on the top of the social icons. And really, you're at that point saying, okay, go over here, get shiny button, and do you want them to leave your site to go to a platform where you're not active? So then the next thing that I like to do is I like to look, so Dan, you're going to have to be the scrolling person for me, is I like to look at where the social icons are on each post before we even go to look at social. So if we look at, if you can click on the sugar cookie one, that makes me hungry, be awesome. So what I like to see here is I want to see where, and I looked at this earlier, is where the icons are, because what I like to see and what I recommend strongly is having them on the top with a number that shows. And I know some people will say, well, I don't want to have the numbers show, but any type of number, it's just like having the content, the comments on the top. Any type of number shows social engagement. It shows that, hey, there's real people here, there's like interaction with it. So I love to have them on the top with a count. And then I also like to have them as you scroll down at the end of each post, because chances are when someone gets to the end of the post, they're not going to scroll up. Now, there is one thing I noticed here that I would recommend shifting, because Pinterest, and maybe not, I mean, this is just something to mull over, but Pinterest is a very large traffic driver for you. And we have become really accustomed to the Pinterest button, and I know that you have a custom pin it button on your images. If you can scroll back up, Dan, when you're done scrolling.
That goes way down there.
Yeah, that's a link up. I should have had you go to a different one, which is awesome. I'm like, that's crazy. So let's see. At the bottom, does she have the social icons on the bottom? I can't tell.
I'm going to have to go back.
Yeah, go back. So anyway, I noticed that there's a custom Pinterest button on posts. And it's very artsy, it's very crafty, it's very cool in that way, but as a culture, we were very accustomed to seeing the specific road signs. We know the Facebook like button, we know the Pinterest pin it button, we know all of them. And so it's much easier for people to pin information or to like something when they see that road sign. Like, we all know when to stop. So if you look at this where there's that kind of, did you see the pin it button, Dan?
Yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of the actual button.
And I would say the same thing. The actual button, just because we're so trained as a culture now to know that the red button means pin it, that button might even increase engagement. And now the other thing I love is I love the social proof of the pins, because I know that these pins have been repinned, and people will see like, whoa, it's been pinned 400 times, I need to pin it. There's just something about it that makes people think, okay, this is something I want to do. So I would recommend that as well. So yep, I see the social icons on the bottom as well, and I think that's great. I strongly recommend with every website review having them at the top and the bottom, just for making it easy. The only other thing I look at on the site too is I noticed on the bottom there was, I believe it was to Instagram, that you were telling people that you're also involved, and then I think it was Pinterest as well. So again, you're telling your readers, like, these are places where I'm involved, and when we get to the Instagram one, we'll talk about it. Is Instagram a place where you want to build traffic, and does the traffic at Instagram really come back to your site and help build the brand? Because right now at the bottom, you're again telling your readers there's an option to go there. Okay, so she says, I don't do my numbers because I redid my URL, so they're really low right now. I think that it's okay to do the numbers. When we switched to Finding Joy, all the numbers reset down to 0, and that's okay because you have to build them somewhere, and in order to build them, there needs to be some level of proof of engagement, like if you just keep waiting with it. So I just still say put the numbers there.
Yeah, I think seeing one repin is better than not seeing any numbers.
I agree too. I think that there's nothing wrong with having a number that's low like that, just because that's the momentum to keep moving the snowball with it. So that's what I would look at the site.
And a lot of people think that when there's nothing there, there's 0, that it's a new post, basically.
Yeah, that kind of can work in your favor too. Like, whoa, this is new content, and I know that part of it was going back and cleaning up old content, and this can really, like you said, work in the favor of the post because it seems like it's new, it's fresh, and no one needs to know that it's a 2-year-old post at that point. So then I always go to Twitter. Nice job. You're a good navigator there, Dan. Okay, so on Twitter, the first thing I like to do is to see, and I don't even know, I always look at the branding. Is it consistent with what the website looked like? So there is kind of the similar, there's the icon gal thing and the branding and all of that. I like it so that when people go from platform to platform, that it doesn't have to be identical, but that they need to have this consistency throughout it. There's like this thread of, okay, this is the person, this is who I know, I'm in the right spot. So I do like that. One of the things that I would, my goal with Twitter and with any social media platform is to take them from that platform back to the website, back to getting on your email list. And right away you're giving them several options, like go to Pinterest, go find me on Google+, go find me on Facebook, and not the option right away to go back to the site, because the site is really that's where the money is at this point. And then if we look at Google+, I didn't peek at it. If it's a really active community, let's drive them there, but if it's not, let's just use it to our benefit, but let's not drive traffic there because it's another place to manage. So then it says that then I'll look at your description because I want to look at the messaging, and I didn't look at your about on your site. I should have done that, but it says, you're sharing the best in household tips, recipes, and crafts. Find me here at misinformation.blog.com. You don't need the misinformation blog part because it links it right below. So you have that information part. This is the part where you're giving your why statement about what you do, how you're helping other people. So why are you sharing these best household tips? What are you going to offer to people that will say, I need to follow this person? How is she going to make my life easier? You have thoughts on that too, Dan?
Yeah, I like, I always think putting the URL there is a waste of space and the hashtags, because only 2 profiles, per hashtag search come up. And
right.
The chances that yours will come up because you have a hashtag in your description is so low. It would happen like once every 1,000 times that you might as well use it to serve your audience the other 998 times instead of wasting that space. And I would very much like to know, why are you sharing the best in household tips, recipes, and crafts? Like, I believe, saving money is the key to going to Disney, and that's why I share the best in household tips and crafts. Or, what is it? What is it that you do this for? And it can be just a few words, really.
Exactly. I went on my own computer, and it says, Kelly says, my mission is to bring you recipes and tips to make your life easier. So I would challenge you, just like Dan says, is to expand that a little bit more. Why do you want to make their life easier? Figure out that statement and then say, because of that, I'm bringing you recipes and tips. And it's kind of reversing it in that way, just so that there's this like emotional connection and they know what they're going to get when they go on to Twitter with you.
Now, I'm not a huge fan of having the other social media addresses.
Yeah, I wouldn't want them there.
In your header, only because we're really working with the hub and spoke model, where the hub of all things that we do is misinformationblog.com. And then all of the spokes, Twitter, Instagram, Google Plus, Facebook, they all lead back to home. So leading people around to another one is just slows the process to getting where you need them to go first. Once they get to your site and they're on your list, we can create entire campaigns around Pinterest and Google Plus and other things. We can drive our list wherever we want them to go. But until then, I definitely want to keep the focus on them going back to the site. And not only that, this is neither clickable nor copy and pastable. Like you just can't use that, and I don't really see anybody typing plus.google.com, all that stuff out. I think
and I don't either.
This can be more beautiful for her.
I agree, because I've looked at your Pinterest boards, and they're very, very beautiful. You've got great photography. You've got all that. I would love to see that aspect of what you do showcased on this so that they know, because you're sharing tips, household tips, recipes, and crafts, but you're not giving any of that beauty away in the header. You're just kind of leaving it a little bit unknown at this point. So one of the things that we send out to everybody that gets a website review, it's like this, I call it the packet of videos. There's videos like tutorials on Twitter and Facebook analytics and Pinterest and YouTube and all of that. And one of the things on Twitter that we're going to have you look at is your Twitter lists, and not specifically like I'm wondering where you put yourself on lists. We want you to look at your list because it will tell us where other people have put you on a list. That'll give you like this idea if your messaging is matching. So if all of a sudden I was to go here and I saw like you just got put on a list for Minnesota Vikings, I'd be like, whoa, her Twitter stream isn't matching up with what you're writing about. And so like to see the renovating and decorating, that makes sense. So just keep an eye on this. The same way that you would look at clout is a lot of times I'll start out a review and look at clout, and I don't really care about the clout number. All I'm concerned about is where have you been plus K'd? Where have other people found you influential? And it should be in the niche that you're writing about. So just peek at that every once in a while.
Clearly the grammar Nazis think you're awesome.
That's good. Nice. Oh, my word. We think you're awesome. Nice. That's good. Good. I got to screen cap that. That's good.
That's the grammar Nazis.
The grammar Nazis group? Okay.
Yep.
So the other thing I want to look at it on Twitter is each social platform has a different voice and identity. So I want to see where the tweets are, but I want to see the tweets and replies. And so I'm going to look at that because Twitter is really this place where you can use hashtags to identify yourself and to get yourself into the stream. Otherwise, if you're just putting stuff out into Twitter, it's like throwing rocks into a river and hoping they land on the one little target in Twitter, hoping that somebody stops by because it goes so fast. And so the cool thing about Twitter is when you start to use hashtags that are relevant to your brand and to whatever you're promoting, then you're at least putting your information into places and into pockets where people can come find you. So we know that Pinterest is, from looking at analytics, is a great traffic driver. So we can start to use Twitter or Facebook and some other platforms to build traffic back. So when I look at your Twitter stream right now, what I see is just kind of information being put out there hoping that it reaches somebody. So if you look at like the weekly newsletter, it's not really telling anybody why they're going to want to stop. What is it about this that they're going to want to read? Why are they going to want to open it up? Or if you scroll down to the Need a Yummy Breakfast Casserole Recipe, Dan, that one. Can you scroll for me? Maybe. Are you there, Dan? Uh-oh, I cannot hear you. I think we lost Dan too. I'm not sure what. So I can't scroll the screen. So I know. Oh, wait, now it says that Dan's joined the video call. So I just got really quiet there. So Dan, can you? Oh, you're no longer presenting. Hello.
Yeah, I am.
But now we have no screen. Now we see you.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we see you though, but I don't see the screen. Can you put the Hangout screen back up? This Google Plus thing. There's the screen. It's kind of coming up, but there I am.
What happened there?
I have no idea. I was just talking, and then everyone's like, we lost Dan, and I was just sitting here. And then I thought, okay, so I'm going to go back, because I was talking about the use of hashtags. I don't know how much everyone heard, like if they could keep hearing me, or it was just your screen frozen. Like, I think we should never make a video anymore with the hashtag screen frozen, because it's coming true.
So, I don't know what happened there either.
I have no idea. Don't scroll. Leave it right there. So, do you see where it says, actually scroll down. I would love to see the tweet after this one. Need a yummy breakfast casserole recipe right there. So there's hashtags there, so it's going somewhere. But I would love to see, because it's a bit.ly link send into Twitter. Where's the picture of it? Like, I want to know, like, you have to get them to stop in Twitter. What about this yummy breakfast casserole recipe is going to make them stop, click on the bit.ly link, and go back to your site? That is the goal, is to create conversation and to get them to stop. So you take a little bit extra time and maybe think about that strategy with it, because if you're just kicking out the bit.ly links into it, you're not really cultivating a voice or an identity on Twitter.
So for me, this particular Twitter strategy is called broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, there is really no difference between Twitter and radio. I mean, they're virtually identical. They're both synchronous media, meaning if you're not there, you're not going to see it. You know, nobody goes on vacation and comes back and, you know, all the tweets they missed are waiting.
Reads all of Twitter. I can't even come back after 5 minutes.
So pretty much, if you're not there, you know, you don't see it. Just like the advertisement that's on the radio right now for your local dentist offering some sort of braces special. Since you're on this call, you're definitely not hearing that radio ad, and then you're never going to hear it again. So with Twitter, just like every social media, our job is to figure out what parts of it are synchronous and how do we make it asynchronous. So what parts of it require you to be there right then and there that second, and then how do we take that away? So with Twitter, if somebody mentions you, then it shows up in your notifications and you see it when you come back on. So that makes it asynchronous. And then the other part is the hashtags. The hashtags are searchable. And for the most part, there are very few hashtags that, you know, get hundreds get used a second. So if somebody searches for it, you know, even tomorrow or the next day, there's a good chance they're going to find your tweet. So then the question becomes, as you go through here, we've got lots of retweets, which are great. I mean, it shows that you're actually here.
Mm-hmm.
But for most of this, it's just broadcast. It's just speaking stuff. There isn't really any social interaction. Like none of these start with, you know, like @Dan, how's it going over there? Or I read your book, or, you know, any of those other things that are social. So that's nothing wrong with that, because some people don't use Twitter like that. Some people use it as a broadcast engine. So if we're going to,
that's a good strategy. I mean, I like that.
I mean, if we're going to use it as a broadcast engine, then we have to figure out, okay, so very few people are going to get it in, you know, are going to get notified. Like Wayfair is going to get notified. You're going to get notified. I saw a couple other people in here.
Well, I think
but mostly companies.
My thing, if it's a broadcast strategy, then going back to the website page, the main page on that list of social icons, I think that then you need to prioritize, is Twitter one of those ones where I reap the benefits of having them move over there, or is there a better social platform that will drive more traffic and build the brand more? Because again, that's where my mindset with it is anytime you're doing that, you're kind of moving them away from back to your site.
So here, for instance, here we have Meister's Cleaners an ad. So I don't know how many people actually search for Meister's cleaners, and it's probably part of a campaign. But same thing with Get Your Betty On an ad. You know, and for the most part, I don't think you need the ad when you're driving people to the website, because this is an advertisement, not a sponsored advertisement, but it's an advertisement to get them to a post, in which case you're going to have your disclaimer. The disclaimer doesn't also need to be in the ad, unless you're sending them directly to Betty Crocker or directly to someplace else. So I would like to see slow cooker, chocolate chip cookies, you know, common hashtag things in every single tweet, or they end up just sort of disappearing. Like, you know, Mezzetta Memories, that's pretty much just going to disappear. Now, if you've gotten paid by Mezzetta to do this post, great, you accomplished what they need you to accomplish. Now, what hashtag is going to be there for you, your business, and your blog? Maybe Sharing Joy. Maybe a lot of people look for that. I have no idea. But maybe just gift basket, you know, would be something where it serves you and your business in addition to serving Mezzetta and their business.
I totally agree. I love having a hashtag that does serve your own blog. I think that it's a good strategy too, because then you can also look back and track that too.
Here we got cookbook and chili. You know, for the most part, I would say this is, would you say 90% better than most of the Twitter strategies we look at?
Well, what is better about it than most is that there's actually retweets. There's that element of interaction and the pictures. So I love that. And what I wanted to look at when I compare is Twitter and Facebook the same stream going out there too? So that's something to look at.
There?
Yeah, we can go to Facebook too. Okay, so the Facebook site. So I like this header better because it's got pictures. It's telling a story. Like on Twitter, there was no story told with the header because photography and those spaces really are an opportunity to tell your story to everybody else very quickly to help them decide, are you somebody that we can relate with? So I love the fact that there's that aspect to it. Then the next thing I want to do is, Dan, if you can scroll down on Facebook, because I want to read the about right there. So this one says, join me at misinformationblog.com, where it's my goal to provide you simple recipes and home tips to make your life easier. And then the blog is listed again. So that, again, it's a double use of that space. That's like prime real estate there about you on there. So this is another place where you can put the why. Why do they need to join your Facebook page? What are you going to do here? What type of community are you going to create here that helps make this camaraderie where they're going to go back to your site? Then the next thing I see is, if Dan, you can keep scrolling down, is the apps listed. Now you have your email, which is great. If there's only one app listed, I would love it to be something that you sell or your email list. Like, those are the things I love because they bring traffic and money back into your site. And number one to me is email, if you can get them on that. Now, with you, I know you have your Instagram one, so we'll have to look at that and decide, is this something that's a brand builder? Because right now you're saying, here's a social media platform. If they find you on Facebook, you're giving them an option to go to another social media platform and not back to your site. The one that I'm okay with that you're telling and promoting right now is Pinterest, simply because Pinterest is a traffic driver to your site. If Pinterest wasn't bringing in traffic, I'd kind of hesitate, but I still don't think that you primarily need to have Facebook driving traffic to Pinterest when then relying on Pinterest to drive traffic back to your site. It just becomes a longer path and journey back. So that is what I see on the side. So for the apps, I love it if it would just be sign up for my email or go to my site right here. And then if we look at each post, what I'm looking for here is, now I can't go back and see the analytics, so on the Insight video, you'll be able to look at your insights and decide like what time of day traffic is coming in, who's your traffic, what type of posts bring you the most traffic. So one of the things that we talk about a lot is Facebook awards engagement, and engagement is any type of click that they can get on your post. So for this post, here's a perfect solution for the kids' Christmas morning, and you're sharing somebody else's post. So this to me is obviously not bring them back to your site, so you're trying to build community here on Facebook. So I would want to, if you're going to give up this space, to see comments and interactions and shares. Is there some on that, Dan? One like. So I need one that goes back to your site. That one does, right there. Okay, so it's a little bit hard for me to read. So You have Mexican hash brown casserole is perfect for this busy week, plus enter to win $15 PayPal cash to try it out. Now, is this a sponsored post or is this just...
It says SP.
Okay, it is. So, let me see. And is there any likes or comments on that one? No.
No.
All right, can you go down to... And this one is just a picture.
Just a picture.
And then this one is trying to build engagement. What was your favorite Christmas gift as a little kid? Okay, so I love it that we're trying to build interaction there. So one of the things that you could do is tell a story about your favorite Christmas gift and maybe have an idea of how to segue it to something that you've written about so that you're leading people along from one post to another. Because at this point, really what you're saying is right now it's Christmas time, so you're asking people to stop in the middle of the stream, in the middle of busy, and to write a comment. So is there a way to make this so that it's more compelling for them to comment, that they want to do that engagement? And then the next one, is that your post, her post? Oh, it's misinformation here too. Okay. And then I just need to see one more. It's really tiny, sorry for me. Okay, I looked at this one earlier. Puffy soft sugar cookies, good by themselves with icing and sprinkles. Okay. Comments? Any shares? No. What I would love to see is a strategy to develop like this soft sugar cookies picture. How can we write this status, update it in a way where that the people that come to your Facebook page think, I have to share this sugar cookie recipe with my friends. There's something about it that's super, super cool. Like the image is awesome. I can see why it does great on Pinterest. But you're taking a Facebook status update, and there's a lot of potential to create engagement with this story about these cookies. Is there a way that you could write it even so that the link is down farther? Because Facebook will reward a click. So if you can write a status update so that it's longer, then and they read it, then that counts as a level of engagement at this point.
No, what that means in my world is that if right now this is 5 lines, if you add 2 more lines of text to this, then Facebook will add a read more button where you can finish reading the post. That read more button, that actually clicking that increases the engagement and helps this post grow.
So if they click it twice, if they click it to read the rest of your post, if they click it to click like, and then they click it to go to the post, you've gotten 3 steps of engagement from one person. So that's the strategy with Facebook. It's very different than Twitter. This is about creating it so that people will stop in the stream and want to interact with your posts. You have posts that you have great photography on this story. Facebook takes a little bit more effort in the fact that of growing community on this page. It's less about putting the information out there, but more about creating information that creates some type of dialogue back and forth between people. Even if it's a coupon dialogue where like we've gotten these deals or something like that, it's all about getting people to want to share it and comment and come back to what you're doing.
So if this was Finding Joy, if this was Rachel's page, without scrolling down past here, I could tell you what her goal was for the post. So on some posts, her goal is to get you to click the link and go to the thing. So for instance, if she has a post that's called, 36 Rules of Dinner, she might include...
Written by Dan Morris.
She might include 6 of the 36 Rules of Dinner right here and say, these are 6 of my favorites. Read more on the site. And it will be extremely clear what she wants the audience to do. And then sometimes she just wants them to comment on the post. So oops, I clicked on it. So
I saw that.
In this part, when she wants you to comment on it, it will be extremely clear that she wants you to comment on it. She will say something like, these soft sugar cookies are a tradition in our family, and they take, we've been making them for 22 years, and my kids love the last part, the last step in the process, which is adding the red sprinkles. And then she will say something like, what do your kids like about making cookies with you? So
exactly
it's a very
right.
clear call to action where she's saying, hey, I want you to comment on this, and I'm going to give you a reason to do so. And then the third thing that she will want to do is she will want somebody to share this. So in that case, she will write a short story right here about the cookies. But the short story will have nothing to do with the cookies. Short story will have something to do with you. So it will always end with two sentences that say something like, you know, making these cookies while hard is something that I love to do as a mom, and I know you love to do that too. It just means so much to our family to, you know, provide this kind of holiday cheer. Like just this heartwarming last two sentences that just make you go, oh man, that's lovely. And then people share like crazy because they have that feeling inside, and then that feeling makes you want to share it. So when I see that, I can scroll down and I can see that she has shares, and she'll have 77 shares or 1,700 shares or 7,700 shares. But the ones where she wants people to comment, there's very few shares, and the ones where she wants people to just go to the site, there's not that many shares. So our question here is, what is it that you're doing specifically? What is the goal? How are you leading them to that goal? And do you, in fact, have a singular focused goal for each post so you know what it is that you want? Does that sum you up?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what I strongly recommend. Thinking through the Facebook strategy with every single post is, like you were saying, what is the goal for it? And maybe it'll take a little bit more time with Facebook, but knowing that goal and knowing the call to action at the end of every post truly does help build that type of community, and then it starts to bring the traffic back to your site. One of the things I looked at really closely and quickly too was your Open Graph, and I know, Dan, you have it. I see your Open Graph tab, because if you click on this, it's to the left, but like this post with the bit.ly link that you've got here, right? Oh, that's Jill at Create Craft. So,
oops. Oh,
you got it right there. You got it right there.
I pressed refresh.
Oh,
it wasn't there.
Okay, so did you do the main URL? This is your main URL, right?
Yeah.
So they're different because she has the Yoast plugin, and it's crazy. There's tons and tons of Open Graph tags on here. But what I wanted to see on this main one was, one of the things I like to switch right away is going back up, right here where it says Open Graph type. That needs to be switched to article. Website is Facebook's default for any type of website. If it doesn't know how to categorize it, it puts it as website. And there's the proof that when this is categorized as article, it's deemed as newsworthy, and it gives higher relevance and ranking in the stream. And then the other part is, if this is shared, I think there's 3 images that were options as a share.
She's only got one, but it's not even parsing that one.
No, it's parsing this one. So when I went to look, so we've included an Open Graph tutorial video. The platform that we recommend for Open Graph is WP Open Graph. There's just a little bit more direct control, but you have to turn off one part of the Yoast Open Graph. So watch that tutorial, because when the Open Graph is set up exactly right, you have great control over it. So if you go back to the stream where Dan, the Facebook stream, which is Dan over to your right, right there, and scroll down to one of her posts.
Here?
Yeah. So have the same strategy on on Pinterest. Is you have awesome control over, when you have Open Graph set up, I want you to think of, what picture do you want them to share? Is it a picture that people are going to stop in the stream? Then the next thing is the title. Is whatever title it is, once it's out of your hands, this title is the second line of hooking somebody in to come into your site. Is the title compelling? Like, what about this Mexican hash brown? And then the last part is this disclaimer, the little part underneath where you have, thanks to Betty Crocker Potatoes for sponsoring today's recipe. I probably wouldn't have that in the description, because a lot of times people are like, I'm not clicking on it, it's sponsored. I would love to hear, this is your part to tell a story about why do people need to click on this Mexican hash brown casserole recipe. Because when you have the Open Graph set up so that is set up in the optimal way, then you're allowing for that post to create its own traffic without you having to write the content all the time. A lot of times people will say, I can't get the image to pull up the one I want, and I just uploaded an image, which is great, except when it's out of your hands. So that's why we really strongly recommend having that set up. And then it just makes a stronger presence on Facebook.
Leave Facebook?
Yeah, I'm good with Facebook, unless you have any other comments.
Nope.
So, oh, I had the Finding Joy site. You can shut that down. I had that up just to show how I had the Facebook, the social settings set up for that, and I also had on there the click to tweet, which I think is a great. Here, if you can go to that 10 things, you see it right in the middle, Dan. I just want her to see that and everybody else to see that. This is a great plugin for WordPress. Don't touch anything. It's gonna. Okay, there it goes. Okay, so. Social icons on the top, what I talked about, but what I wanted you to see is down a little bit is this right there. Is look and getting that click to tweet. When we were talking back about Twitter, is that click to tweet is awesome for driving traffic back to the post that you want. So you get to basically fill in the tweet that you want, and then it comes with your URL or whatever and your handle, and then you can drive traffic back to your site using that. That's all I had there.
Okay.
I meant to show it earlier. Forgot. It's weird when I can't control the page. Okay, so, wow, I normally end with Instagram, so we're going to do Instagram next. Okay, so my number one question with Instagram is if it's a brand builder or a personal platform. And if it's personal, which is great, then let's rethink the strategy on the homepage of the blog. Do we want to drive people there? Do we want to drive people to your Instagram page? Now, Instagram is a really, really cool place for people to get the behind the scenes, the story aspect of who you are. And it's possible to use Instagram to drive traffic to your site or to who you are and to build that kind of camaraderie with you. You just have to think through the different posts. Like when you had the one about the cookies, the really beautiful photography, I'd love to see on Instagram a picture of you making those cookies, because then it kind of pre-sells the idea that there's going to be super fun, yummy cookies on your blog that we're going to want to check. Like even doing the sprinkles, like Dan said, what's the story behind the cookies? And people love that type of content on Instagram. And when you create that type of content, then it can help bring people from Instagram to your site, or it gives this like line of this part of credibility to who you are and your story. Instagram, you can use all the hashtags again, to drive traffic in the Instagram community to your site. And then is there hashtags on that? I can't read it.
Yes, there are.
Okay, good. So continue. Are they sponsored ones?
A couple of them.
Okay.
But there's good ones too, like pasta and appetizers and recipes.
Perfect, which I love. So continue to use that. And then like this, well, how can you expand on that? Like that picture, it's in the same in all the different social media platforms. What can we do to make it unique to the platforms to drive traffic back?
My question always is, what if somebody offers you some money to buy your site today? Is this something you're willing to get rid of? This has got pictures of your family. Is this part of the package? And if it's not part of the package, then why isn't this Kelly Wilson instead of Miss Infoblog? Mm-hmm. And if it is part of the package, why is this Kelly Wilson and not the logo?
And what does the description say? I can't read that either. Right now.
Visit me at misinformationblog.com, where I share crafts, recipes, and DIY. See behind the scenes here, and then go visit the blog for the whole story.
Well, right there is where I think that's the power of this Instagram feed, is using it to do the behind the scenes, because people love the behind the scenes, but you have to think through that strategy of what you're going to do with that.
So that's always my question. Is this? I think bloggers more than anyone else get their stuff confused in terms of they are their blog, or are they not their blog? Is their blog different from them? And then what is it that they're, who are they? Because the question really is, what is it that we're building, and can we sell what we're building? And if we sell it, I know some people don't want to think about selling it, but you got to know, there's no retirement. If somebody offers you, if somebody offers you a couple $100,000, this is something we have to think about.
I'm out.
And then, and at the same time, how do we make sure that we can get that? Because at some point in time, we're going to want to go, just be done. So why are we not thinking about that today?
Okay, I'm reading your comments. Okay, so she said no brand building, but trying to be a little bit personal. So, Kelly, you can really use it to build your brand, but you have to just, like the cookie one, just go back to showing the behind-the-scenes part about it, and then that can make great content. That behind-the-scenes picture that you would have on Instagram would be awesome then used on Facebook, because then people can see like, whoa, you're actually making it. And then you can write the story about it and then move them to your site. So there's just this like process of thinking, how can I relate to other people so that they know that they can do this project or whatever you're doing. Okay, so this is YouTube. Did we pull up her Google Plus page?
I did not.
Okay, which tells me, do you still have her website up?
Maybe.
No, you do not. Okay. So Kelly, if you can answer for me if you use your Google Plus page or not. We don't even have to look at it, because if you're not using it, I'll tell you, take it off that main screen right now, but still continue to post there. So this is Google Plus, and
this is YouTube.
YouTube, okay. It's late. Okay, so
for me, with YouTube, there's a few things that you have the option to do, and in our Video Riser campaign, I would have you take a look at that, because one of them is you get a teaser video right here. Now that teaser video is for anyone who is not subscribed to your channel. So,
I have the written link one for you if you want to show that. That's
okay, so like right now I'm not. See, it says subscribe. I'm not subscribed. So I should be getting the teaser video here that says, "Hey, this is what I do," and the only value that it has is for you is to get someone to subscribe, because once they subscribe, that video goes away. People don't see it anymore. So there's a lot of opportunity on the channel itself how this is all designed. So
and is her blog listed up on the top by the social? I think you can link to your blog. I see Google Plus.
Yes, she's not linking to her blog here.
So I would love to see that versus even the Pinterest, some of the other ones.
2 Google Pluses, so you could put your blog right in there with an active link.
And then going back to, I believe YouTube was on the main page again. So do we want to drive people to YouTube right now? Is this a channel that gets you traffic that goes back to your site?
So here we have 2 videos total on the entire channel, which is not a bad thing or a good thing. So clearly, Kelly's not a vlogger by trade. But the question then is...
She's making me hungry. All these food stuff. I'm sorry, I just had to put that in there.
So like one thing that you have an opportunity to do on YouTube is to create playlists. Now, playlists are fantastic because there's a good chance you've been on TV or somebody's interviewed you and you're on their channel. And you can make a playlist of, misinformation, off-site, and then you could put every video that, that was on some TV station's YouTube channel. You can add them to your playlist, and then it shows up on your channel. It becomes basically part of your YouTube world. So I would just say, looking forward, is figure out what it is you're going to do on YouTube, and then go back through. And I would think Video Riser is a great place to go, but there is a lot of buttons inside of my channel and all that stuff to figure out. There's a lot of ways to customize it. Even on one particular video, I love that this is already in a playlist, which means that when it's done playing, they get to see another of your videos, which means this whole space takes away any of the chance for somebody to see somebody else's video.
What does it say down for the information, if you can scroll down?
Why it hasn't started, I do not know.
Okay.
Oh, comments are loading. Lovely.
Yeah, the other thing I would say is, and I won't have Dan go back to it, is to check out your About on YouTube too. It's just a critical place where people go to check things out, and go look at what you've said about your About there. Why is your channel a channel that they should subscribe to? What information are you going to share at this point? One of the things I like about the video that I had Dan share about is, oh, this is the longest About ever that I've seen for yours. Okay. No, it's good. It's good. It tells more.
That was so candid.
I know. No, but I like it because here's finally a why. What I love about it is here that are easy for busy moms. That's what I love about it. I love that now we're getting into a little bit more about the why.
Which we have not seen anywhere else.
Which is what I think is great, is why is this important to you? Because you wanted to not, you could just say, you could very well not want it to be easy, but this is the first time it's easy for busy moms. So this is something I want you to think about expanding on there.
And don't forget the HTTP, because that's what makes links alive.
Oh, yes, yes. So at your own time, you can go look at the Rhett and Link YouTube channel. I think it's awesome the way it's set up. Same with Philip DeFranco. All those YouTube channels are fabulous. Just the way that they put it all together. I think anybody that has 3 million subscribers, we can learn from. So I'm always looking at it. They've got the compelling trailer to come in, and then their About has that super call to action as well.
I muted that, which is...
Yeah, that's really good. It's really loud. My boys would be coming running down like, is it Rhett and Link right now? Is it Good Mythical Morning? So.
Yeah, if your kids do not watch Rhett and Link, you're missing out.
Oh, this is like this is the standard at my house now.
Yeah, mine too.
I know them all. Like now they want to know, will it popsicle? I'm like, we're not trying that. Okay.
Wait, so there was YouTube.
Yep. And then the only other one we have is Pinterest, and that's the 78 one, not that one, the other one. And it's loading. Okay. So good. Pinterest is kind of your social media performer, and that's great. And one of the things I wanted to tell you is I went and peeked at your Pinterest, and I loved it because when I went and clicked on pins, I noticed that you pinned a lot of your own stuff, which I think is fabulous, which I believe really is driving a lot of traffic, is that you're putting your stuff out there on Pinterest. Because sometimes I think we think, let's not pin our own stuff. But Pinterest, too, it's the same thing. It gets pinned, and then if we're not consistently putting stuff out there, we're kind of relying for people to come back to the boards. And I think most people that browse Pinterest, who are not bloggers, are looking at
the home feed.
At the home feed. They're not looking at everything else. So the other thing that I love about your Pinterest board is I think we shut down your site is I strongly recommend that top bar on Pinterest reflects your navigation bar on your site. So it's a seamless transition back and forth between your site and Pinterest. And because then you can kind of build that traffic along each other. Then they know when they click on the recipes, they go back to your site. Then they know, oh, there's recipes here too. So it's kind of making people get the idea of what you're providing. The other thing about your Pinterest that I loved is if you look at her pins, they're very well branded. There's a reason that I think that you have as many, you get as much traffic as Pinterest gives you. They're really designed for Pinterest. You've got the consistent. We have another Pinterest board up that will show, but there's just this consistency through them, kind of the soft overlay, the different font, and all of that. The other with Pinterest, what I love too is that, and we talk about this often. So this turkey bacon and guac sandwich. See that one, Dan?
Mm-hmm.
Does it say the same on the top on the picture?
It does.
I love it, and you do too, Dan, when there's something a little bit different between what the lettering is on the picture and the title, because you're given another opportunity.
A huge fan of the Jeopardy 3-point clue system.
Do you want me to do the theme music?
Picture being clue number 1,
mm-hmm.
The title of the sandwich being clue number 2, and then the description really being clue number 3. You now have an opportunity with a title here and a title here to actually add even more information. So
yes.
This could have adjectives in it where this does not. So this could be, 15-minute turkey, bacon, and guac sandwich, where you're just adding this one thing.
And hashtags on Pinterest, too, at the bottom there. Pinterest uses them as well as directional signs. So think of what ones can go in there to continue to drive traffic back to your site.
So the one that we absolutely love, when you get 10 to 12,000 repins on everything, it's hard to deny, anything other than that for a non-blogger. This seems to be working.
Well, what I love about it is very quickly is it's branded. It's a very similar type of photography. People know it, but it's not exactly the same where they get kind of immune to it. And then there's a very specific call to action in the content, in the text where people are repinning it, and then the use of hashtags on the bottom. And so I think that all works together so that people will stop. You want people to go, whoa, I really want to pin this stuff because all of our stuff is quality content. And you can do that by building the brand, building the photography, building it around in that way like Budget Savvy Diva does.
All right, so that completes that.
Yes.
Is that all?
That's all the social, but I can offer any social stuff afterwards. That was a lot of social that I talked this time.
It is.
Sometimes
So,
it takes me 40 minutes to go through social. I didn't even do Google Plus. And by the way, Kelly, I got your note about you not having your YouTube linked. I couldn't remember from the homepage.
so I like to do a couple of little things. Now, like Rachel said, we always give a third video, which includes things like how to read tools.pingdom.com. And in this particular setting, instead of teaching you how to read it, we go through it and look. So the idea here is that your site has a 5.27 second load time. My question always is, why does it take that long? Now, 5.27 seconds is not long, but I want to know, why does it take that long? So in this case, all of these long blues, we have plugins, recipe card. These are all because of plugins. This one's really the longest, and that is 3lift.com. I'm not sure what that is, but it sounds like something we're monetizing with. So then we have Linkia. Here we have the responsive header by Genesis. It's taking a little bit of time to load. Here's CloudFront. All of these are normal stuff. Widget titles, Fat Cow. What in here? Is there anything in it? And then we have our pictures. Now your pictures really aren't taking that much time to load, so there isn't anything in here that particular that I would just say get rid of immediately. These are images that are taking a second to load. That's an image, that's an image. Now, if some of these images are being held, see like this, here's the SoFab badge. Now, the SoFab badge is being held at Collective Bias. So that means that your site has to go to Collective Bias and come back every time it wants to load that page because it has to go get that image. So if I want to speed it up, that I want to take that image, I want to save it as my own, have it on my own site, and link it where it needs to link, but I don't need the image actually at Collective Bias. So then we have CloudFront, Hightail, the Sway Group. You know, their badge is at their site. Google Analytics always slows down the site a little bit. Shareaholic slows down the site a little bit. So your question, Gourmet Ads is slowing you down a little bit. So no matter what it is that you do, everything slows your site down a little bit because it has to load. None of these are excessive. I wouldn't think any of these you have to do anything major to. Most of these are pictures. You could use the Smush It plugin. So nothing here is like a big major problem. And it's 5 seconds. So then the question is, all right, if I want to reduce it, I could use the Smush It plugin. I could get rid of analytics. I could get rid of share this. I mean, you could really get it down to 1 second. You have to figure out what is the happy medium. If you want analytics, then it's going to take, a little bit longer to load. That's an okay, sacrifice to make. If that's the kind of information you need to make your sites, better. So you just have to play with it and figure out, am I good with a 5.2 second load time? And if I'm not, how shorter do I want to get it? And what am I willing to sacrifice? And what am I not willing to sacrifice? So not a bad or good, just here's what it is. So then the question is, if this opens, is the site mobile friendly? Now we'll find out whether or not we care if your site is mobile friendly in just a second. Well, what happened? What just happened?
What's going on down there in Tennessee?
Why is it?
Why is it doing
Stop.
that? That's weird.
I've never seen it do that before, ever. Oh, and now it's just frozen. Lovely.
Screen frozen, hashtag.
I'll come back to that. All right, so the question is, if I go up here to Audience Mobile Overview, is do we care? Come on. So 50% plus 21%, so 71% of your audience is mobile. And
I think we care.
I think we do.
I do too.
Why is it doing this?
I'm going to look at it on my phone right now.
Yeah, do that, because I'm curious. Is it mobile friendly or is it not? And for some reason that's not happening for us.
And I'll look it on the tablet too.
So if you have some time over Christmas, no matter who you are listening to the call, I would encourage you to go to your Verizon store or Best Buy or something, and bring your site up on every piece of equipment they have in the store and take a look and see what it looks like. There are definitely degradation sites like the one we just used, mobiletest.me, but really there's nothing better than seeing it live on tablets and Samsung phones and iPhones and all that stuff. So the second thing that I want to find out...
On the iPhone, it works fine. It's got the ads in it and everything. It's good.
So the next thing I want to find out is, it seems to us that from a social perspective, our messaging is really not bad. And the posts, in theory, as far as I can tell, the posts are bringing to the site the kind of traffic we want to the site. So I don't think that we have a problem with the social traffic. I think it's the people that we need on the site. So then the other kind of traffic is, what kind of traffic is coming from the search engines? So when we look here, one of the things that I see right away is a lot of the recipes do not have images associated with them. So my first question is, are we using Google Rich Snippets for our recipes? We do here, we've got 10 hours 25 minutes to make that? Oh, I guess so, slow cooker. 489 calories, so this one's clearly using Google's Rich Snippets. It doesn't harm a homemade barbecue sauce, tailgated cheese dip, so we're definitely using it for most, maybe all. Maybe Google's just not pulling all of them, which is fine. So then I'm looking to see, are we using a keyword tool? Are we figuring out what it is that people on the planet are searching for when they're looking for the solutions that we write about? So, for instance, slow cooker, mushroom, onion, pork chops. Is this something that we researched and we figured out, all right, this is how people search for it, and if I'm going to write this post, then I'd like to make it easy for them to find. I'm hoping that it is. So here we've got slow cooker, mushroom, onion, pork chops, and then in the page title we have misinformation. Now at no point in time do we ever need our blog name in our page title or in our site title, because Google knows who you are. You're really pretty much the only one, and misinformation does not describe slow cooker, mushroom, onion, pork chops. So it does not add value, it actually reduces value, because now we have 2 more words in the overall number of words, and those 2 words do not support or add value to the overall, they take away value. So then our keyword is slow cooker, mushroom, onion, pork chops, and we actually have that right here in order. So that is good to see. Easy ornaments using glass etching cream. Here we have beautiful glass ornament using glass etching cream. So here we're trying to go for easy ornaments using glass etching cream, and here we've got make this beautiful glass ornament. Instead of easy ornaments, we have glass ornament. So here we have somewhat of a keyword disconnect, because we're not reinforcing in our description what it is that we're pulling. Now I'm seeing a lot of ellipses at the end, which for the most part means that we're not filling out a meta description for each post. Google's just pulling the first sentence of the post. And this actually is a disclaimer. Disclaimer doesn't entice people to click. So, and you'll see we just talked about this in FreeWiki Mastermind. I'm a huge fan of taking a screenshot of our disclaimers and posting them as an image, not posting them as text, because nobody needs to. I mean, Google doesn't need to see that text. It doesn't help add value to our page. And a screen cap looks exactly like text, so the audience knows no different. So that we save on text, it doesn't ever show up in our description. Google doesn't ever have to see it for SEO. You know, we solve all the problems at once. Strawberry lemonade cupcakes, sweet strawberry cupcakes with a slight lemon glaze. So those 2, sweet strawberry cupcakes with a slight lemon glaze and strawberry lemonade cupcakes, are different things. So if we're trying to become the most relevant for any particular keyword, we definitely want to be relevant for that keyword within the post itself. So after we look at that, we come over to behavior or acquisition, and we go over to keywords, and we look at organic. Now we're looking November to December 21st, and the first thing that I see on here, which I absolutely love, and I rarely ever see this, is that your site name is not in the top 10. I love that. That is the best.
You are really happy.
It just never happens.
I know, it's cool.
Like most of the time, it's misinformation blog.
It is.
No, it's like, okay, great. A lot of people are searching for your name. What I like to see is your name show up like way at the bottom, so that people are actually searching for it, but more people are finding you for things that matter. So I love that we have several of these right here. Now, unfortunately, your audience is hugely Google users. So we do not get the benefit of seeing how these 13,000 people searched. So the way that I like to combat that is I like to add a little space in here. That's good. So that we have a larger, there we go. See, that's still not even very good to look at. And then what I like to do is, how many lines of text do we have now? 2,411. So I like to go in the URL bar and arrow over to the right. And where it says 25, I put 2411. Did I do that right?
It's loading.
Okay, good. So now we have 2,411. Now we can see all of the keywords that brought you traffic for this period. And then I like to sort by keyword, because I really don't care that biscuits and gravy is number 2.
I'm getting hungry. I'm telling you again.
What I want to know is, I want to come down through here, and I want to know, what does Google like me for? Mm-hmm. So look here. Wings on the big green egg. Wings on the big green egg. Wings. I don't know what that is.
What is that?
I have a feeling that's making chicken wings on the big green egg grilling machine.
I have a feeling too.
So we saw that other thing had like 17 or 20 searches. But now here we have 111321911. So if all of these were added up, they would probably show up on that first page of search results. But they don't, because you just have one each. So it's hard to tell that you actually are relevant for whatever this is. Wings on the green egg. All of these are wings on the green egg. So I would write that down, that I'm relevant for chicken wings on the green egg.
Green egg.
And then I would start looking through here to see what else am I relevant for, because this is my low-hanging fruit. Now I know I'm already relevant for it. People are already finding me for it. How do I just expand it and get a lot more traffic from it? So here I've got white chocolate ribbon fudge, white chocolate raspberry fudge, white chocolate fudge jam. So in all of those, it seems like the words white chocolate and fudge show up on all of these different ones. So I'm going to write down white chocolate fudge, and I'm going to make sure that I figure out, does that fit on my site, and can I write more of that? Can I become the hub of that? Because this, again, is another area where I have a little low-hanging fruit. I love the W's because there's lots of questions, and inside a question are more of these words that we're looking for. What to give a mom who's got everything, mom who has everything, mom who has everything. You know, this becomes the basis. Too. It becomes the basis for my Christmas campaign next year, really. So biscuits and gravy casserole, right? That's your #1 search result that we can find out about. And look, here it is. It's also at number 58. So originally it said you received 137 people looking for biscuits and gravy casserole, but clearly we've received 138. And there's probably going to be a lot more through here. So we have Aquaphor. You're just going to find little pockets. There's what can Aquaphor be used for. And the best way to do this, I hate to say this, but the very best way to do this is to read all of these aloud to yourself because you'll hear the pattern instantly. It takes a long time to see the pattern when you read it. But when you read uses of Aquaphor ointment, uses of Aquaphor healing ointment, uses of Aquaphor, and then we go down another 500 words and you start reading Aquaphor again, you instantly remember that you said that aloud. And you can start seeing, aha, here's where all of my keywords are. Here's what I'm actually relevant for, even if I'm not getting a ton of traffic. At least I have a base. Thanksgiving dessert recipe, Thanksgiving dessert ideas, Thanksgiving Day side dishes. I'm looking, for my Thanksgiving campaign next year, I want to know what was I relevant for. Thanksgiving bingo cards. I start building out the map, and then I go look at Webmaster Tools, and I see where I was ranked, and I can really start to put together a good campaign for next October to begin starting to take over Thanksgiving again, because I have an idea of where I was, what I ranked for. I can do keyword research to see what I'm missing, and I can really start to put something together. I hope that makes sense. What else do we look for in here? So I hope that you stay away from this real time as much as possible. The only time that I am a fan of you doing it is Black Friday, when you're really trying to see where people are going and you're trying to take advantage of every tiny step that you can. Maybe if something goes viral, you want to see where the traffic is, so you can try to take advantage of that post. But if you have this open, this is just a time suck. It doesn't actually make your day better. And for the most part, you end up doing things you weren't going to do anyway, and the things you were going to do, you should have planned out to be the most important things for you to do that day. So please, as much as possible, just stay away from the real time. Most people do not have these things set up. So, oh, look at that. Good. Well, this is crazy. Most people do not have any of this set up.
She's just cool.
So this and ads.twitter.com, you can take your Facebook data, which you have all kinds of data in there, and then take your Twitter data, which is going to look similar to what we just looked at on analytics. You can really start to figure out who are your people, how are they different in each place, and then if they are different on each place, how are we going to attack Twitter in a different way than we're attacking Facebook, in a different way than we're attacking our blog. And if you can tell that, in this case, your biggest thing is 25 to 34, and then over here, did I enable that gender? So we have 70% male, 30% female. How are we here? Did it say? Here we're 94% female, 6% male. So I know this is my Twitter account, not yours. So then the question is, why is it that I have 70% of my followers over here are male, but the people who actually make it to my site are female? So then we can start to figure out, all right, who is actually following me to the site? How does this come about? Because I can see who the people are on Facebook, I can see who they are on Instagram, I can see who they are on Twitter, and then in the end, all those sources of traffic end up being this. So then we can start to put together really who is actually creating business for us, who's growing our blog. Interests. Do you even have this set up? Oh man, that's awesome. It's rare that I get to see this. Most people don't have it set up. I hope that the rest of you guys can see the kinds of stuff that you can really learn from analytics when you have all your different things set up. Learning what it is that they like. Cooking enthusiasts, 9% of your people. TV lovers, movie lovers, beauty lovers, home and garden, home decor. I mean, all this kind of stuff. Here's affinity, the affinity categories of what they like, represented in a different way. All kinds of stuff that you can learn about your site. For most people, this doesn't matter at all because they're trying to get traffic from everywhere, but if you have a hyper-local segment to your blog and it's Atlanta, you can come in here and realize, well, crap, I've got 10% of my blog dedicated to Atlanta and nobody's coming from Atlanta. So maybe that's, rethinking what you're doing there. Let's go over to behavior. I don't think you're doing paid, right? No. One thing that we do like to look at is this mix right here. So you have to decide for yourself, am I a low risk or a high risk blog? So in this case, we've got social, Google, social, referral, social. So social is huge here, which means that this is a pretty high risk blog, in that if Pinterest goes away, and Pinterest will, just like Sears and Kmart and MySpace and everyone else, there's nothing really that amazing about it that somebody else won't be able to knock off, which is what happened to Digg when StumbleUpon came around, is what happened to StumbleUpon when Pinterest came around. There's always going to be something better. So where does that traffic come from? And then, as we know, Facebook does whatever they want, so they could easily make that harder. And then we have a couple of things that are really buffering all of that. And then our organic search too. But if we take away Pinterest and Facebook and we're left with 39,000, what does that do for our overall income? So my assessment for 2015 is that one of the things this site needs to do is spend a lot of time on risk mitigation. So how do we get traffic from other places? How do we work on better SEO? We work on more referrals. We start becoming guests of podcasts, and we write guest posts. We're starting to do more joint ventures with other groups. We're looking for traffic offline, like my parents look and find traffic to go to home shows. How can we get in front of those streams of traffic? How do we get people talking about us that aren't talking about us now, so that we can start to take away this risk right here? And we all have it. We all have some level of risk. So my parents, for instance, has none of this, but Google Organic is in the 80 or 90% range, which means it doesn't take too many things to knock down the tower. So it doesn't matter who you are or what you have. There's some risk in there, and you got to figure out, as a business, if any of this money is going to start paying your bills, how do we protect that from going away? I don't think we're doing AdWords, right? Nope. Is this site? So normally we look at this in Google Webmaster Tools, but we can look at it here for sure. So inside here, this tells us, I just clicked on average position so that we could see 1 at the top. 1 means that we're ranked number 1 in Google for these keywords, right? And we can see how many that is. And you're all going to have a bunch. And you're all going to be able to look at your own thing and realize that there's thousands of stuff that you are never going to be number 1 for, or you're never going to care that you're number 1 for. So you have to look at all of these and figure out, all right, is any of this stuff good? So now the second thing that we want to know is, now that I know which ones I'm ranked for, which ones am I getting clicks for? So that's this column here, the click-through rate. So apple pie filling crock pot. We're ranked number 1. We've been seen 60 times in this particular time period, and 35 people have clicked on us. So it's a 58% number. That's fantastic. Let's not mess with that particular post. So now we're going to go down here and see, so we have 16%. So biscuits, gravy, casserole, breakfast. 30 people have seen us, but only 5 have clicked on us, and we're number 1. So the question is, here we have 5 to 5, here we have 5 to 5, here we have 5 to 5. So for the most part, I wouldn't look at it because we're 100%, for all the variations. But if this was isolated, I would wonder, do I need to go change my meta description or my title to make it more, more likely that somebody will click and come through to the site? Now, a lot of times you'll have this: Christmas tree ribbon garland ideas. 22 people came, saw your site, 0 clicked, so you have a 0% click-through rate. So for me, that's instantly. If I want traffic for that keyword, I need to go Google that. I need to figure out what does it say when somebody sees my site. Why is nobody clicking on it? And I need to change something. Because clearly I don't need to be number one if nobody's clicking on it. So you can go down here and look for Elf on the Shelf 2014 calendar. Here you've got 5, 30, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. All of these are number one for these terms. 0 people are clicking. So the question is, what is wrong? What is being pulled? Do I need a meta description immediately? I mean, there's only 2 days left. So that's what I have to figure out. And then when I put together my Christmas plan for next year, this is definitely going to be part of that Christmas plan. Look, I'm ranked number 1. I just can't get people to click. So I'm going to make this more clickable so I can gain that traffic. I'm going to figure that out for next year. So then we have site content. Now, site content is going to be obvious. So the question that I have for you is, let's find the parts that are not obvious. So, and this is a little bit harder of a task. But my first thing is, I want to know if I get a ton of people clicking on this from Pinterest and from this from Pinterest and from this from Pinterest, and then I know that I'm number 1 in Google for this, but this one here, salted caramel bark, I don't have a pin for it, and I'm not tweeting it, and I'm not Facebooking it, and I'm not getting Google traffic for it, then where does this traffic come from? This is what I want to know. I want to know, where does each of the traffic come from, and the one that does not have a source, that's the one that people are clicking in the related post icons. That's the one people are searching for once they get to your site. People are navigating to that all by themselves. So that becomes a superhero within the list that we should probably do something with, because people are navigating themselves to it, and we're not driving traffic ourselves. So there's something about that people all over the site like, and we should probably take advantage of that. So you can do that on the whole thing. Go down. And sometimes I even like to export the list and then just start analyzing it different ways. Put it in Excel, and then for each one of these it's a recipe. You put recipe. For the ones that are crafts, put crafts. Get an idea of what percentage of the people are looking to different parts of your site. Maybe you can figure out on your own what you could eliminate. Maybe there's just stuff that nobody's going to do, and you're spending a lot of time on it. You just don't realize nobody else cares. If nobody else cares, that's immediately, we either have to bring a new audience, or we have to make them care, or we just stop doing it. And my guess is, let's stop doing it. If your audience doesn't care, let's give them stuff that they do care about. Let's see if we can get this page to work. This only works 20% of the time. You still there, Rachel? Did I lose you?
No, I'm here. I was eating some popcorn. Just being real, everybody.
What?
I was hungry.
I'm not eating popcorn.
I was listening to you. I thought, I've done my job. I'll eat some popcorn now and listen to you talk.
Come on, don't be denied.
It says access denied.
Us.
Denied again.
Oh. It only works like 20%.
This is why the popcorn's great, like this moment.
All right. Good. So I want you guys to do this on your own sites, and that is press the in-page analytics button. Now, what will happen is that Google Analytics will be overlaid on top of your site. And next to each one of these buttons is going to be an orange tab, and it's going to tell you how many people have clicked on that button. So crafts, it will say like 8. And DIY, I will say 9. And My Home will say 1. And holidays will say 96. And store will say 0. And other will definitely say 0. And recipes will say 6,004. So what I want you to do is I want you to see what people are clicking on. For me, this is way better than a heat map, because a heat map gives you an idea of where their mouse goes, and this actually tells you where they click. So, if,
I do love
instance,
that, Dan. That one. It is kind of a bummer when you think you have something that's awesome, and then you're like, they're not clicking on it.
Yes.
but
so
it's good.
I don't even have to do the thing, and I've done so many of these that I know people are not clicking on other. Like, even though it sounds like a good button, people just don't click on buttons. They click on things that resonate with them.
You know what I say with that, Dan, too, is I always think about if you went to Target, my favorite store, there's not really a section in Target called Other. Like, we
No,
wouldn't know what to do. So I always
you
think
wouldn't
about,
even go down the aisle like other.
right,
So
this is aisle
now
Other. So, yeah.
I have no data for this, so maybe this was the one site that I've ever looked at that people click other. But for the most part, nobody clicks other. Nobody clicks store it's unless it's a site like Rhett and Link, a Facebook page where people go there directly because they want to buy the Rhett and Link shirt.
I think the store would be better if it was a site, like some other way. Like, you're right. Again, we're already there.
They just don't. For some reason, store just doesn't resonate. I don't know
Would
why.
Target have an aisle called store? That's my go to your favorite store.
So
and I always
then,
what they have.
holidays, for me, holidays either, like right now, it needs to be Christmas and New Year's on this list, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Holiday crafts, decor, and recipes, but we get rid of Halloween and we get rid of Thanksgiving the day after, so that this is always the most relevant. So in 3 days, Christmas is gone, and it's New Year's and Valentine's Day. And then, obviously, it's Valentine's Day and Easter and those kinds of things. So we keep this as dynamic as possible because nobody cares about Halloween at all. Like, not one iota. So let's just not have it there. It almost is like saying, I didn't realize you didn't care about Halloween. When we should know it, now. But nobody cares. Now, Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving all have residual search. So there's a few days of search after. Valentine's Day is the only one that I know of that search ends the day of. Like 10 o'clock p.m.
Yeah, if
it's
you
over.
screwed up, you can't fix it the next day. It's done.
No, nobody's searching the next day. So everything else you're allowed to have a little bit of grace period, but for the most part, get rid of it. And Valentine's Day, get rid of it like that morning. It's pretty much if you didn't get something, you're out. You're already in the doghouse, and there's no getting back.
Yeah, that's right. You might want to search other things at that point.
Roses at the gas station is not going to make it.
No.
They're not cheap there, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so I actually got rid of what I wanted to go to. We're taking our time today. This is longer than an hour.
I know, and the poor East Coast people, sorry, it's 12:19 for them.
Well, at least it's recorded, so like you can go to
They're
bed any moment.
dedicated.
All right, so back on site. Finally, we get to exit that. So the question always is, what is it that we want them to do? Because there's always that goal we need to give for them because most people don't know what they want to do. So my question is, what do we want them to do? So when I look at a site, I always want to know, what is it that you want them to do? Now, in this case, and pretty much on every page of your site, you have a picture that overhangs the fold. So human behavior dictates that nobody likes half a picture and everybody scrolls down to see what the picture is. Now, that human behavior is going to thwart your plan if your plan was for them to press this button and subscribe via email. If this was your goal, then your picture is going to sabotage your goal immediately because that is no longer an option. So then, once they're here, and we know they're here because we put the picture there on purpose, so we know that they have already scrolled down, and this is where their mouse is going to stop. So then the question is, what is it that you want them to do? Do we want them to click to read the rest, or do we want to click the picture to go read the about? Now, my eyeballs, because this is kind of faint, are over here. And if we want them to read the rest, then I would say this probably needs to be bolder. Because my eyes did not go there. They went to the disconnect. So we have white, 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 and then a big picture, which is totally different than the rest of the page. So if they scroll past that, then what is our goal? So I saw Kawasaki immediately. I don't know if you guys saw that as well. So for me, I went to this picture and then over here to this picture. So if we're trying to get them to click something, I would have clicked here myself before this. I find this picture to be more appealing to me. because I like these kinds of things. So then my question is this family meals sidebar, if I click on that, is that going to take me to your highest paying page? Is that the thing? Is that where you make the money? Because we have the ability to put an ad right there, and that is an advertisement for that section of your site. So is that going to drive revenue? Are you moving people to drive revenue? Are you moving them here for a reason? I don't know. But you are 100% in charge of what they go to. So why aren't we sending them to the highest paying page? How do we figure out the highest paying page? Well, one of the ways that we can figure out the highest paying page is through AdSense. This is my AdSense and not Kelly's, because I couldn't be logged into my account and logged into her account at the same time. So we use this old account to show stuff. I have to go way back because we haven't done anything for a long time. So then we go over here to URL channels, and we look at all URL channels. And down here, I can see my estimated earnings and my click-through rate. Cost per click, there's $1.59. So benefits of resveratrol / organic wine labeling policy. That page is paying me $1.59 a click. This page, organic wine making, is paying me 28 cents a click. $1.59 or 28 cents. So now I go back to my blog. Do I put the $1.59 a click page right here? Do I put the page in here that's selling, does the best job at selling my ebook? Do I put the page in here that's got the highest BlogHer income? I mean, what is it that I'm putting here to drive my own revenue? So then as you move down here, printable chart, you can see that it's kind of a battle between the left and the right in terms of what the eyes want to do. Where do you want to send them? So that's my first question to you, is where do you want to send them? And then the second question is, if I go to the Sugar Cookies post, which I went to earlier, then my second question is, if I wanted them to read this post, whether it was Pinterest or Facebook or wherever, and I put it out here, and these are those pretty cookies again, and I get to the bottom, click here for recipe. Click here with an arrow, or click here? I guess click here. So why did I have the second page for the recipe? I mean, I like that we do. It's 2 page views. So here we have the Sugar Cookies recipe. And so here's my question to you. What is the next best click at this point? You've taken them to the recipe. Where do you want them to go after that? What is it that you want them to do? Because now we're kind of in no man's land. You got that, we got the recipe, and then where do you want them to go? So here, this appears to me to be not stuff on your site. This looks like an ad, right? I'm thinking that we're monetizing at this point. Some of these are yours, and some of these are taking you somewhere else. So this is the point where we're okay if they leave. So we want them to pay us a nickel or 20 cents or whatever and leave. And then Rachel Willis, she must be a guest writer, huh? And then we could leave a comment. This says author is Kelly. On the bottom says Rachel Willis. The top says Rachel Willis.
Dan, as you're talking, looking at that, what was going to add too, like with the name when you're looking at author, is on like Facebook, really great strategy there is to sign your name to whatever post you're doing. People love that authenticity, that connection.
Oh, the actual image signature?
Yeah, just on Facebook, I always sign the end of each status update with just Rachel. It just puts a face to it, like like this with misinformation like that. Like, who is the person behind it? So it's just this one extra step, like saying, hey, there's a real human here. I saw that too earlier.
I did too. Why do we have 2 bios? So then we have an ad, and then we have comments, and then there really isn't a next best click at this point. There pretty much only is, here's a bunch of stuff, which is okay, but is that really the best way to control the income and the flow and where you want people to go? And we're not giving them a reason to comment, even though we have comments below. There's no question. There's no baiting them to leave a comment. So on this particular post, I wonder what is the next best click, and 99% of the time, the next best click is the back button. So are we actively trying to prevent them from hitting the back button or not? And I would say here, we're not actively trying to prevent that. We're hoping they don't click the back button. I know that she has custom sidebars here, so I would continue with those. Those are fantastic. I think that you can only get better at custom sidebars by watching your analytics and seeing what it is people click on, and the stuff that they don't click on, get rid of it immediately. Like, don't waste any time. You know, you get 100 views on a page and nobody clicks on something in your sidebar. Like, give them something else. You know, don't totally fall in love with everything on your site that you're not willing to change something.
I think the cool thing with the next click with this too is this could be a call to action to pin this post to your cookie board like you and I chat about a lot of times, or a really good way for people to opt into your email list at this point, because like save this recipe, get up to, you know, all of that place. So developing that into that end before they get to everything else where it just becomes, like you said, no man's land.
So the one thing that I'm not seeing on here are products. Now, products for some people are scary. Because they just want to write posts and they don't really want to think about products. But the fact is that just like the zoo, you have an audience of people who like something. So if you go to the zoo and they really just display animals, that's their goal. But they don't shy away from products. You know, they have T-shirts and mugs and all that other stuff in the gift store, because not only is that a source of revenue, but for the people who go to the zoo, that's the source of joy. The idea that you can put the fridge magnet of the zoo that you took your kids to this year, or they can get the pterodactyl cup, or you can wear the sweatshirt of the place that you like going to. I mean, those are all things that make people fans, that makes them love that thing. You know, if you go to a concert, a U2 concert, and they don't have a shirt, I mean, who are you serving? Sure, you're really trying to make some money selling shirts, but don't a lot of us want to get a shirt, you know, at the place that we go to? So my question on this site is, who are these people that are here? And why don't we sell them the things that make them love that they're like that? So, for instance, Rachel sells her calendar. You know, she puts her quotes on a calendar, but it's not really Rachel's on the calendar. They're quotes about motherhood. Her audience is moms, and they're just buying something that makes them feel better about themselves. That, you know, it's like the Zoo T-shirt or the U2 T-shirt. It's just something that they can put and be proud of. So, you know, if we can use Zazzle or Cafe Press or Teespring, if we can create ebooks, you know, if we could do anything that doesn't require us putting product in our garage, we have an opportunity to not only make money, but serve people. Because you and I both know we want a shirt when we go on, you know, when we go to Florida, we're getting a shirt, or, you know, we're getting a beach towel. We're getting something to remember our trip by, and because that's part of the joy. So when we don't have anything, and I'm not going to be positive because there is a store here. When we don't have anything like that, then we don't give those people a chance to become cheerleaders. Now, this is an A store through Amazon, which you can design right inside Amazon. And these things are nice to have, as long as you know what's in here, and on every single recipe that you write, you put "don't forget to get the Joyce Chen bamboo things," and you link back to the store, or you link directly to Amazon. Like, don't just create a store and then forget it. Totally integrate it into the site. Make sure that all these things you recommend all over the place. This is the things you think people should have. Like, don't even have a kitchen if you don't have a whisk, basically. Wouldn't you say the same?
I would. I was just laughing because my kids are giving their grandparents a "I whisk you a Merry Christmas" with a whisk.
Nice.
So yes.
I would say if you're teaching people how to recipes to make life easier, that all of these things should make life easier. And you should say, look, if you don't own these things, then like why are you reading my blog? I'm helping you make life easier. The things that if you have a chance, when you get this one.
Well, and you know the other thing, Dan, is if you have that product, like I'm going back to now, like this is where I want to see the Instagram. I want to see you cooking in that cool yellow pot and using it that way so that it becomes just part of the posture of who you are on your site. And then it's so much easier to say, like, not even it's just being a product, it's just you using it. And a lot of times people want to know where you get it from at that point. It's just very organic to drive people to those favorite things.
But don't let the store stop at just some utensils. Give them an opportunity to get a bumper sticker that just says "I rock" or something. You know, whatever it is that your people are about. Don't forget that your job is to make them happy. And you know, Zazzle and Cafe Press and Teespring, and you know, I think we've shown what are they called? Permaculture cards.
Yes.
I think we've shown those a few times. Permaculture playing cards. Amazon's going to come up first. I like to go to that person's site. No. The person's site doesn't come up at all.
I know, I have it written down in my notes from Seattle.
Can never remember that. Well, anyway, here they are. This guy did a Kickstarter to design these cards. He made $70,000 to design these cards, and they're absolutely beautiful.
How come I don't think of those ideas?
They're just playing cards, but each one has got really interesting information about plants. This is a guy that has a gardening site, and he got a lot of money to help design these. But this is the kind of thing that our audience wants. Like when they have company over, do you really want to bring out the Hoyle deck? It's just got the red diamond, or would you want to bring out this? Like people have pride in themselves and what they do and what they love, and you know,
I'm not bringing out my cards with the holes from the casino anymore. Then.
Yeah. But you know, like Crystal Collins probably has a Doctor Who playing card set. Like that's just her. She's just.
That's very true because I get a playing card set wherever I travel. Like I've got one from different places I've been.
So that's my question for you. Don't miss out on the things that people could just love you for. Like some gardener just probably has so much pride in their card set because nobody else has it. And whenever it goes to gardening meetups and they play cards, finally, they never played cards before because nobody wanted to play cards. And now this guy might have created friendships that never would have started before this. I mean, just think about that value that you have to your audience. So
cookies on a card.
Products are great. Yeah, I think Liz Latham, you know, she's got a really big cupcake audience. People love her cupcakes and her cupcake charms. I mean, she's selling little charms you put on a necklace.
Yes. Yep.
For cupcakes. I mean, that's fantastic. That's just a great way for her people who love cupcakes to just go, look at this. This is the cutest thing in the world. So anyway, don't forget about that. You don't have to have a basement stocked full of stuff and you're going to the mailbox every week to mail stuff to sell products. Well, should we wrap this up?
I think so. That was a 2-hour website review almost.
I'm sure there's something else that I'm missing, but we're supposed to do 2 reviews. If I remember it, we'll do the other parts on the next review. But I'm sorry this took so long. I'm hoping that it was valuable for you. Oh yeah, as soon as I switch to that, it's like infinite space.
Oh, there everyone can see me there in the corner.
How was that? That nice?
There's many of me.
I'll go back to this for you. So anyway, I hope that was useful for everyone. We look forward to chatting again. This will be recorded. We'll put it in Prime for you, and we'll be doing another website review because 2 people volunteered, and I ended up saying yes to both before I realized I said yes to both.
And Kelly, thank you for letting us talk about your site like that too.
Yeah, I hope that we didn't.
I think it's awesome. I think there's lots of awesome. I mean, like the Pinterest board was fabulous. I love the strategy that you have of pinning your own stuff. So.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I wish more people did that, but I think people really feel like they have to do that 10-in-1 thing. I just don't understand. Anyway, all right. Well, we'll let you go since it's like 1:08 in the morning on the East Coast, and we'll look forward to talking to you guys again in the near future. Sorry for the abruptness, but
hey, she just said I'm not sorry. It was awesome. We're telling you it was awesome. I saw that note, Kelly.
Oh,
it's
good.
Awesome.
Good.
Yeah. No leaving without me saying that.
Good. All right. So I will stop the broadcast and go to bed. No, we have to do a podcast still.
We're doing a podcast. What are you talking about? The night is still young.
All right. Well, thanks for coming, everyone. I'm really surprised anyone's still here. All right. Talk to you guys soon.